Whether you're preparing for your first wedding as a second shooter, or you're a seasoned professional and you're just looking for some ideas to spice up your groom prep, I got you covered as I break down everything that I do on a wedding day to make the groom feel like a rock star. What's up? My name's Jay LeBlanc, wedding photographer and photo and video educator. Listen, on the wedding day, sometimes the guys, they just get overlooked. Whether it's because all the focus is on the bride because everybody says it's her wedding day and it's all about her, or some guys are just not that into the pictures. In my opinion, I think the groom is just as important as the bride. And this is why I believe every wedding should have two photographers. Personally, every wedding that I photograph, there's always at least two photographers. One photographer dedicated to the bride and one photographer dedicated to the groom. So today, I'm gonna go over exactly what goes into photographing the groom's prep. Full disclosure, about 95% of the weddings I photograph, I cover just the bride. Also full disclosure, I just pulled the number 95% out of the air. That's not an exact number, but it sounds good, right? Most of the weddings that I photograph, I'm covering the girls and my second shooter is covering the guys. Very rarely do I even see the guys during the getting ready process, so everything that I talk about in this video is something that I do or that I have my second shooter do. With that being said, almost all the images that you're gonna see in this video are from my amazing team of second shooters, so be sure to check them out as I'll link them all down in the description below. And let's jump right into it. When it comes to the groom prep, the first thing that we're going to have to focus on doesn't even involve the wedding day. We're gonna talk months before the wedding. I like to discuss with the couple specifically to each of them what will happen during that prep. I don't want my second shooter to just show up, the guys are all dressed and say, here we are, take our picture. No. We want to have control over the whole flow of the day. So I set these expectations way in advance. That way on the wedding day, they already know what's going on, they know the game plan, and they're ready to roll. I let them know that my photographer is going to show up with the guys about an hour before they even get dressed. And they're getting dressed about half an hour before the next destination, whether it's the first look, portraits, or a ceremony. When the photographer arrives, they're going to cover the details, the portraits, candids, and just kind of document the day of what's going on as the guys are just preparing for the wedding. So I allow the groom to do a couple things before my photographer gets there. Showering's important. We want to smell good, right? I tell them they can start getting dressed, and by that I mean they can have their dress pants on, they can have an undershirt. That's it. I don't want them any further dressed than that. And if they don't even want to get that far dressed, that's cool with me. I don't want him dressed when the photographer arrives because the photographer is going to cover all the detail pictures. And those details are what he's wearing. And I don't want them on his body yet because that'd be a little difficult for doing a detailed pictures of some of the things that the guy's wearing if it's already on his body. I let him know very specifically, I don't want you dressed any further than your pants and your undershirt. And for the groomsmen, I don't want them dressed either. I want them still in their casual clothes. I want to be able to document the candids of the getting ready process. The photographer's not going to just show up and, hey, we're all in tuxes. Because chances are, every one of your groomsmen don't wear tux that are all very color coordinated every day. If that's what you like to hang out in, awesome, more power to you. But I've never shot a wedding where every guy wears a tux every day. Now, before I even dive into the actual wedding day, I'm gonna let you know the gear that I carry with me for this, it's usually just one camera body. Yes, I always have two every wedding, but for the prep, I only really need one. And I'll have usually a 24-70, or if I'm shooting primes, I'll have a 50 or a 35. Very rarely do I need more than that. That's pretty much all you'll need for groom prep. Sometimes I bring a flash with me if we're getting ready in a basement with no natural lighting and we're not allowed anywhere else, but that's just for very rare scenarios. But it does happen once in a while, so it's good to be prepared and have that flash with you. So when I first get there, the very first thing I'm gonna do is all those detail pictures. I discuss with the groom in advance about all the important things that he has that involve his outfit and what he's doing that day. And those are going to be photographed for the details. While I'm shooting these details, I'm also looking around the venue for places with good lighting. Yes, I want good lighting for my detail pictures, but I also want to be able to find spots that I can have the groom get ready in. Some of the things that I include in those detail pictures are going to be the tux, a tie, shoes, socks, belt, cufflink, watch, anything that is important to that groom for his wedding day. More often than not, the groom is getting ready in a dungeon. It's usually very dark. If it's a hotel room, it's a small one. It's not the bridal suite. If it's in a venue, it's usually downstairs, hidden away from everybody else. The bride gets the luxury, beautiful lighting for hair and makeup and all the nice things. The guys usually get a bucket of cold beer, some video games, and they say enjoy, see you in a couple hours. Once I'm done with the details, I like to go get some shots of the guys just hanging out. Get some candid pictures, them joking around, whether they're drinking, playing some card games, video games, jumping in a lake doing a cold plunge, playing pool, a round of golf, whatever it is. It's part of the wedding day and it's part of the story. So I want to get candid pictures of whatever the guys have going on. Once we're about a half an hour away from whatever the next move is, whether it's a first look, portraits, or ceremony, that's when I'm going to start having the groom get ready. I like to have either his father, his brother, his best man, somebody important help him get ready. So we ask that person to be completely dressed, and then they're going to help the groom get ready as well. Whoever's helping the groom is going to take a jacket, throw it on him, straighten up a tie, maybe help him out with a vest, tie his shoes, whatever it is. It just adds to the story of a wedding day. Let me tell you, it's fantastic having somebody help you get dressed. At my wedding, I made my brother do it. I was like, get over here. You have to put my jacket on for me, tie my shoes. You know, it's my wedding, so I get to boss you around a little bit today. It reminds me of when we were kids. Drop a like below if you would just appreciate having somebody help you get dressed every single day. Once we're all ready and good to go, I'm gonna get some solo shots of the groom. We're gonna get a nice portrait of him looking at the camera, smiling, almost like a headshot. We're gonna put him in good lighting, in his nice tux, looking sharp, tie straightened out, and we're gonna get a nice picture that the groom's mom and the bride are really gonna appreciate. After that, we're gonna get some cool shots, maybe him looking off to the side, maybe a little bit more serious, leaning up against something, playing with his watch or his tie, fixing his vest, buttoning it up. Whatever it is, we're gonna get a couple different variations just for something that the groom would really like. And then once the guys are all ready, we're gonna get a picture of them just kind of hanging out in the getting ready space with them completely dressed. Maybe they'll do a cheers, they'll have a drink, they'll give a little speech or a toast, and at that point we're just taking a back seat and getting a lot of candids and again, documenting the day, capturing what's happening. At this point, some photographers are gonna do pictures of all the groomsmen in a more formal setting. We're gonna get the groom individually with each of the guys, some pictures with the dad or uncle or grandpa, whoever's there. Personally, I like to do this a little bit later on because then the groomsmen don't have to be sitting around in tuxes, waiting hours for the ceremony to start because listen, guys are slobs. They're probably gonna spill something on themselves. They're gonna drop that chicken finger, a little piece of ketchup's gonna fall on his tie. The beer's going to get his shirt all wet because it's dripping from the ice bucket it just came out of. I advise to hold off as long as you can putting on the nice fancy dress clothes. So usually I'll hold off doing the pictures of all the groomsmen unless the girls are running really late and the guys just want to get the pictures out of the way. And at that point, we will do the pictures ahead of time. And if you want to see more information about how I work with the whole bridal party on a wedding day, check out this video right here. It's a good one. And during this whole process, we're building a rapport. My second shooter is building a rapport with the guys. It's something that I build during the engagement session so the groom gets to know me. But the groom may not necessarily know my second shooter. And during this whole hour and a half of time that my second shooter is spending with him, they're getting to know each other, they're getting comfortable with each other so that when my second shooter is pointing their camera at them all night long, they're like, oh, it's cool. I know who she is. I know who he is. I'm cool with them. Because like I mentioned earlier, most guys don't love having their picture taken. I'm not saying all. There's some guys who are absolutely ham it up in front of the camera. You point a camera at them and they know what to do. It's like they were waiting their whole life for this moment. But I'm gonna be honest, most guys, they don't really care about the pictures. So you wanna build that relationship with them and make them a little bit more comfortable because you're gonna be looking at them with a giant camera in front of your face most of the night. Well, that's it. I gotta be honest, the groom prep is pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. It's a great chance for the guys to loosen up and get used to being around the photographer, as well as make some pictures that the bride is really going to appreciate and love. New photographers, is there anything about the groom prep that worries you or you find a little bit intimidating? And seasoned photographers, is there anything in here that I maybe left out that you would like to add? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, I'll see you then. Peace.